everyone, Christina here, owner of Maple and Sunshine Boutique. I'm here today to do a tutorial on cheer scrunchies. I know the cheer bows have been a big thing for a long time, but the scrunchies are making a comeback. And I just want to preface this by saying I'm not a cheer bow maker. I have no desire to be a cheer bow maker. I have a friend who lives locally that runs an amazing cheer bow business, and she wanted to add these to her inventory, and knowing that I've sewn for a really long time, she came to me and asked if I could help her out with this project. So here I am. I just wanted to do, like I said, a quick tutorial showing you how to do this. If you don't have a serger, you can still do it, but it might not be as great of results. The serger is almost a necessity when you're doing this with this stretchy fabric to make it basically your life so much easier. This tutorial is probably more so for people who want to do this for personal use. I always say if you're looking for a professional finish, for a professional looking product, leave it to the professionals. I'll leave a link below so that you can contact Nicole because her products are amazing. She is extremely successful. She ships bows all over the country, and I'm sure she'd be happy to get some scrunchies and bows out to you. I know she does rhinestones on the scrunchies too, so give her a call, message, whatever you want to do. But here's my tutorial. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is already have your pre-cut strips. I want to say these are about 4 inches wide by 24-ish inches long. You're going to fold it in half lengthwise and put it in your serger. When you're doing your serger, you are going to start serging about a couple of inches in and take it out. And then you're going to put it right back in, leaving about 1/2 inch to 1 inch gap, and start serging again. All the way to the end. Now you basically have a long tube serged all the way across the lengthwise, and you have a little gap just like this. You can just snip this in half right here and tuck it right inside for the end part. But this is what you're left with at this point. Let's do this one more time. I've got it in here lengthwise just like I showed in the last one. I'm going to go a couple of inches, come off, leave it connected, and then just stick it right back in, leaving a 1/2 to 1 inch gap, and just continue to the end. Okay, so now you have, again, a tube, and you just have your little gap there. Again, just snip that right in the center and leave the tails on it. Okay, so your next step in this process is, I have this nifty little tool. It was like a couple bucks at Joann Fabric, and it's called a bodkin. You can order them on Amazon. They have them in stores. Basically, it helps you turn tubes right side out. There's all sorts of nifty special things that people try to sell you on the internet. There's like a special turning tube. This works just as well, and it's a couple bucks, and you can get it locally usually. What I'm going to do is turn the video off and turn it right back on. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. You're going to have the bodkin open, and looking at your tube, you're going to put it at the end that does not have the opening. So put it end first into the tube, push it down a little bit past the end, and just kind of tuck the end into it and close it from the inside. And then you just pull it through, and it turns it. You do not want to turn this tube all the way through. You're going to go all the way to the end, pass the little gap, and then out the other end. Stretch it out, and then you're going to undo your bodkin so you have both of these ends met up together. That's what you want. You want to make sure that the seams are even, they're not twisted, so you just line these two ends up. So now you have a tube half the length with your opening still on the outside. Okay, so now I have both of my ends perfectly lined up. Hopefully you can see that okay. And I have moved over to my straight stitch machine. What I'm going to do is, this is probably the most cumbersome part of the entire project. Make sure your seams are lined up, get it under your presser foot, and actually sew this little circle on the end So we are stitching this up. I like to just do a little back stitch over the seam to make sure everything's held tightly together, but it's kind of tough to get everything is so tight to fit everything in there that you want to just go around and make sure that you get everything connected. And I'll do that one more time in case you didn't see it quick. I'm going to try and do this at a different angle so hopefully you can see a little bit better. I've got my tube. Both layers are right here. Make sure they're even and start sewing around inside of that little tube. And again, if you have a zipper foot, that's perfect. Use it because this is a very tight area. Fortunately, my machine already has a nice narrow 1/4 inch foot, so I can just leave my standard foot on and go right around. It's okay to go slow. Accuracy is better than speed. So just make sure, again, keep everything lined up. And this one's being a little difficult for me here. Okay, so just keep it lined up. Go all the way around until you make sure you don't catch the top edge, otherwise you're gonna have to tear all your seams out and do it again. And nobody wants to do that. So just keep going until you make the full circle. Try not to overlap any of the fabric. Do a little back stitch, and there we go. At this point, what you should have is a doubled over tube with the hole that you left on the outside, and these ends that you fed together are sewn so that this is completely sealed here. All you're going to have is this little opening, and basically you're going to pull the inside all the way through, and there you have it. You have basically a big tunnel with your little turning hole right here that we originally left open. And at that point, you can go ahead and insert your elastic. We're going to go ahead and use 1/2 inch elastic, about 7 to 8 inches long, depending on how tight you want your scrunchie. Let me get that cut, and I'll show you what to do next. So we have our elastic, our bodkin. I'm just going to attach the bodkin to one end of the elastic and start feeding it through. You're going to just go right through your little opening that you left. If I can find it. It's here somewhere. I promise. I swear it's here. There it is. Okay, so you're going to just, again, feed it through. Go all the way around, and then you're going to get the end at the other side and just basically sew those little ends together so that you have a circle of elastic inside of your scrunchie. Okay, so I have my elastic fed all the way through. I have both ends kept out, and what you're going to do is just overlap them about 1/2 inch and then straight stitch back and forth, back and forth. You can use a zigzag stitch if your machine has a zigzag feature, just to make sure it's secure, but go over it a few times. And it's really important to make sure that your elastic does not get twisted during that process of feeding it through. You can even put a little pen mark on the two ends to make sure that they're both lining face up. That helps sometimes if you're worried about them being twisted, but you can feel if it's been twisted and just go straight through. And I will show you the final step to finish these scrunchies. It's almost done. You're almost there. So I have my elastic overlapped. Just gonna get it in here, and like I said, just go back and forth, back and forth. I'll maybe raise it up, move it over a little bit, back and forth. I like to maybe do a little overkill, just to make sure that it's on there really sturdy. And there we go. So you have this, trim your threads. Now you have basically a circle of elastic inside of your tube of spandex or whatever it is that you're using, and we just need to finish it off by doing a ladder stitch, and I'll show you that in the next step. So at this part, yes, you're going to have to switch to a needle and thread. You're going to be hand sewing the final step. You're going to go in the hole. I don't know how well you can see this. Hopefully you can see it pretty well. You'll go in and try and go a couple of stitches back from where you stopped on your serger. Go up from the inside and loop it back through your thread so you have a nice secure beginning. Alright, and from there you're just going to continue on with a ladder stitch, which means that you are going to go in about 1/4 inch and out, and then just jump across to the opposite side. Now this is probably not going to show that well on here, but I'll do another video. Let me start a new one and I will try and get a better close-up. So now that I have a couple stitches started, I can probably show you a little bit easier. Once you have your ends flipped into the center so you have that nice clean finish, you are going to put your needle in right next to where you came out of the other side. Go about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, probably about 1/8 since these are so small, and just come right back out the same side. Jump back over to the opposite side and do the same thing. So you're going to put your needle in at the same place that it came out, equal on the other side. Go about 1/8 of an inch or so, come out, and then back, continue going back and forth. So you're going to get these lines, these parallel lines down your fabric. I'll do one more. And then as you get towards the end, probably about halfway, you can just gently pull, and it is going to hide that quote-unquote ladder. That's why it's called ladder stitch. So, I mean, if you want a little bit more, you can just Google ladder stitch. There you have it. That is the finished scrunchie. You cannot tell where the turning hole seam is. It's beautiful, and even though the ladder stitch is the most time-consuming part of this process, it's really what's going to give it that professional-looking finish and feel. So, again, if you're doing a large order, this is supposed to be for a professional, please leave it to the professionals. We know what we're doing, but if this is for personal use and you just want to make yourself a cute scrunchie, now you know how.